In this video, I wanted to share why I am passionate about integrating ancient wisdom and indigenous holistic healing practices with modern science, neuroscience, epigenetics, um, and other areas like psychology. There's a framework that I came across with a particular lineage in South America that's 5,000 years old. And for me, I loved it because it really is the glue and it's the framework behind which I do all my work. And it really helps speak to why there's something still lacking in how most of the business world tries to deal with well-being, fulfillment, and even performance. These, uh, this ancient culture, if you will, really understood that at any given moment, there's four levels going on at once, and they all influence one another. And so if we're not aware of them and optimizing them, so to speak, aligning with them, I guess is a better way to put it, we're going to be fighting ourselves more than anything else. We're going to feel that sense of this. And so the first level is the literal physical level. Not at all earth-shattering. We're made of skin. We literally have a heartbeat that you can measure and so forth. It's objective. It's just that's what's there. Nothing surprising there. There's also the mental emotional level. You can have words come out of the mouth of your boss that you and your colleague both have a complete different emotional response to because of the thoughts that you have and the mental emotional conditioning that you have, such that you might hear your boss being, in a real, tough situation for them to talk with maybe a particular frequency of tone that's, could be objectively measured, whereas your colleague might actually feel like, wow, they're being incredibly offensive. How dare they do that? And have a charged reaction they feel very justified for. Same exact literal physical experience, two totally different stories that emerge from here. What is really interesting is that in these cultures that I've been exposed to, they talk about this third level, and it's not levels like first being lowest. They're all on the same plane, but it's just one more level that we can think about. Is there's this mythic, or what I like to call life force level. We all have some sense of something that's beyond our thoughts and emotions. Yes, we have thoughts and emotions, but each one of us feels at times this visceral sense of either being aligned or not aligned. There's a part of us that feels like we have a story that we're here to live out. We're not sure what that is. And a lot of these cultures speak of trying to uncover what that is. That's why we love these movies like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and pretty much every story, the hero's journey, they all speak of this sort of mythic aspect of life. And there's times that we can just feel it and we know it. Those moments where it's just like, yes, this is me, totally me. And you don't need a diagnostic or some test for somebody to be able to tell that, because your whole body responds, your whole soul in a way responds. Okay. The beauty of these cultures is that they really understood the importance of this. And they use things like I use when I work with clients, like storytelling and other things that really help get to this level so that we can connect with those parts of ourselves that oftentimes we don't connect to. And so we can stay at these levels down here where we're mitigating, decreasing our heart rate through breath work. We're, responding in an emotionally resilient way. But oftentimes when we jump to this mythic level, in terms of how we're responding and engaging and going about our day or our work, suddenly everything aligns on a whole different level. And like changing gears in a car, notice how if you're just staying in one gear, if you're just staying at one level with the tachometer, they go faster, you have to increase the RPMs. But the moment you change gears, suddenly you can go at a much higher speed at a lower RPM. That's the magic that can happen when we begin to understand these holistic perspectives that have been lost and that complement the science of today. And then there's the pure energetic level, which the world of quantum physics has really opened up our eyes to. But they all influence one another. And even if you're just doing physical body work, mental, emotional, or work on your thoughts and emotions and your energy, this part plays a key role in terms of bridging and balancing out these perspectives. Now, why do I say all that? Because this framework, if you will, can seem super simple, but it corresponds to so many aspects of life, and I only listed 2 of them here. The literal physical level also corresponds to, or I should say, the first set of examples I'm going to give have to do with the 4 evolutionary leaps in our brain. The literal physical level corresponds to the reptilian brain. That was the first part of our brain that showed up. Then we have the limbic brain, which is very much connected to our emotions. And our emotion is survive, 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 fear, fear, fear. Do what we need to do to live, live, live. Okay. But what's really fascinating is that we've evolved beyond that. We actually evolved the neocortex. And at the front of that are the frontal lobes, which correspond to pure energetic level. And when people measure the parts of the brain that light up when people are meditating and stuff, it's the frontal lobes that light up. And the neocortex is really interesting because it's been found to really empower humans to be able to find meaning and purpose in their life. And that sense of purpose and meaning corresponds to those stories, those mythic, those bigger than our thoughts and emotions kind of aspects of ourselves that we all just feel. The other thing is, just one more example is when we're engaging different parts of this framework, it corresponds to different aspects of brainwave activity. So there's the beta brainwaves, which is often when we're focused right on the physical world in front of us and what we're doing. When we get to the mental emotional level, it's the alpha brainwave. When we get to the mythic level, it's the theta brainwave, and pure energetic is delta. What's really interesting is that when I work with people, I use a lot of storytelling, mythic storytelling. And these stories aren't like your typical stories that you've probably become accustomed to, where it's got a clear beginning, middle, and end. An indigenous story, and keep in mind, these cultures, when you were young, a lot of schooling, a lot of life lessons were told through stories. And these stories didn't have a happy beginning, middle, and end. They didn't have a clear beginning, middle, and end. And you can hear an indigenous story where it's like one moment you'll hear it and be like, I love it. And the next day you hear it and it aggravates you. Next day you might even start crying hearing it. And these stories tend to stay with you in terms of there's more to it than just what meets the eye. And so when I work with people, I bring in practices and things that really help people get to this level. It's not the only thing I do. There's a purpose and a need, and it's not to dismiss, to be very clear, any of these other levels. But this is something that often is a game changer. And in one of the videos on this page, you'll see I'm going to tell an indigenous story. And one of the things that it'll do is these stories take a little bit of time to get through. And without you even having to do anything, they're literally shifting the brainwaves in your mind. They're literally helping you use and access a part of your brain that's connected to creativity and solving problems in a different, novel way, imagination and things of that sort. And who wouldn't want more of that in terms of how they go about their day? How much more beneficial is it for us to be able to solve our problems in new ways? And I'm a big fan of Albert Einstein, who said, you can't solve a problem at the level that it originated. And so many of our problems stem from our limbic brain being taught that life is about survival, work is about just making a living. And at a certain level, it is. But at a certain level, there's more to it than just that. And suddenly now that raises the question, might there be a bigger purpose? Might there be more meaning behind what's going on in my day? And when I work with clients and they begin to ask that question, man, their eyes light up because suddenly they're connecting to parts of themselves that really help them foster a sense of alignment. And that actually in the moment that used to be even more constricting, suddenly it opens up and they don't have to change their job. They don't have to change their boss. They don't have to go and get to some finish line 6 months down the road. It's really, really powerful. I could talk a lot more about this framework. I will in other videos, but it's something that really is a glue that allows us to blend these different worlds, these different wisdoms, and different experiences into fostering transformation and well being that can truly last.